we're at the council chambers in Hilo. The time is 1:10 p.m. So please turn off your cell phones or turn them to the silent mode, any communication device that you may have. The statements from the public on the agenda items were already taken and included on September 4th. So I just want to inform everyone that I received a lot of calls from the public who were concerned at our last meeting regarding the confusion on testimony being allowed if you were considered an expert. So for clarification purposes, the committee discussion does not include additional testimony regardless if you are considered an expert or not. So because that's fair to all the public, nobody gets to testify. So you cannot give us written testimony and those things. This is a council discussion right now. So if the council, so council members are allowed to call anyone up to ask pointed questions, so specific questions. And that's what I'm going to be monitoring today, that if it's a specific question being asked because the council member is not well informed of a specific thing or item, then you may ask for a question, for someone to answer that question. But it's not testimony. So for those who may be called up, this is not testimony. So I ask you to be very clear with answering a specific pointed question. Okay? So again, I'm going to reiterate, this discussion is for council members and is not open for any public testimony. Okay? So I ask that we all be respectful to the rest of the public who are not able to testify, for those who are going to be called up. And again, specific questions that we have not asked before, or something that you are unaware of that you need to ask for clarification for yourself. And I think that's fair for everyone. Where we left off is we were on the amendment 393.51. So I'm going to give the floor to Councilmember Wille.
Thank you, and I urge the other members to pass this bill and look towards discussing the ad hoc committee, the companion measure, and leave the science and the uncertainties to that follow-up committee. To look at and come back to us. And we have decisions that need to be made right now, whether it passes it goes to the council, 2 readings. I suggest, and as I urge for Councilmember Onishi, had some amendments he wanted to bring forward. I said I would be sure that we could be able to discuss those at the meeting when he would be present. So if it is moved on to council, I would hope that the chair would be amenable to amendments at that first reading. We do have 2 readings of the council. I know, hearing from members of the public on both sides, that they really would like us to move on and have another opportunity to have public comments. So that's where I'm at. I hope we get on past this and are able to discuss that companion communication at this meeting. Our most important function as a county council is to protect the health and safety of the residents and the INA. And when I say INA, I mean private property, public resources, public property, our water, our groundwater, our surface waters, our coastal waters. As chair of the Ag, Water, Energy, Sustainability Committee, I looked at what are the most frightening issues for our island. And where I was the little red fire ant, which I have worked on, and it's something I worked on way before I had any entrance into politics, and worked to get a resolution. And the response to that was, that's an ag matter and that's for the state. And I said, it's not happening. And we organized with others to get testimony all around the county and put specifics in. And it just wasn't done. It was not done. Saying this is somebody else's responsibility doesn't happen. Obama has said with respect to GMO and ag issues that federal is a floor, not a ceiling, and encourages local and state initiatives. The second issue is contamination of non-GMO private property and public resources. And two, a fear and my concern about the corporatization of the seed and ag practices on this island by multinational predatory biotech companies. And I think we have a clear choice. We go in one direction or the other. And we're at a window of opportunity. If we sit around and wait here and delay and let's look at all these issues, it's going to be too late. We need to look at each of these. How do we, I think, implement the precautionary principle? What I said was, let's hold the line where we are, and in this subsequent follow-up committee, look at some of these other issues deliberatively in terms of additional enforcement, in terms of further exemptions and or further prohibitions. So some people said, well, let's move, the corn over here and the horticulture over there, or let's just do testing of preventing seed testing. All of those will just be a way to undermine the intent of this bill. If we were to only draw the line and say, no, we don't want testing, we're basically ending up where Kauai is now and trying to just stop that. If you're a private property owner, you're a farmer, and someone's doing GMO next to you, it's not a matter of his rights to have his private property rights where it comes over onto your land, and you then you're actually could be in patent violation. You have a right. We've eliminated that. And I think we have to learn from the Papaya story. We have to learn from what happened where we made a choice, where there was a choice to eliminate doing papayas for at least 7 months, and then start up again or going with GMO. What was the impact? We eliminated all of the non-GMO papaya farmers around there. We want to protect everyone. We want to do the best, and we need to work for what is the best vision. When you look at this island and say, what is ag going to look like in 2020? Is it going to be monocrops, large-scale GMO corporations, and basically everyone else? The patent law is very powerful. Look at that. I think somebody's...
Hello?
I'm just holding up a minute. I don't have my time right now because I can't. Who is it that's...
Dr. Senna?
Hello?
Doctor, can you hear us? Okay, Nora, you're going to have to deal with that. Thank you.
Because I can't hear. So, there are issues, there are questions that have come up. How do we do the enforcement? Should we also have regulatory enforcement? Should we have penal enforcement? What power does the county have to enforce this? If we don't have that, I'm working with Kathy Garson on that. And it's a question she brought up to me today, and I think they're pretty clear, but we need to work through them. And each point, I think the one question that came up last time, for the last 2 meetings, was, Fresh, if we stop where we are right now, does that say okay to GMO test, further testing of papayas?
Thank you. Councilmember Ilagan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Councilmember Wille brought up a good point, and that's public safety. I want to bring up Dr. Cassidy because I have some questions about food safety.
This isn't
What was that?
Madam Chair, I want to bring up Dr. Bruce Cassidy.
Yeah, I'm going to take a 2-minute recess because we're having problems with connection. So 2-minute recess. Skype problem with that, or just trying to figure out how to